I want to start with, okay, this will come out after today. So this will be like quote unquote old news by then. But did you watch Shohei Ohtani last night?
I was actually watching fall baseball games at Hoover last night, but my phone was blowing up. Coach Schrupp called me. Are you watching this guy? And so I started kind of watching it on my phone.
Yeah.
Really unbelievable. I mean, like I watched an interview of Dave Roberts in the locker room after the game and how he was talking about the history of the game. Something like this has never happened in over 100 years of baseball, and somebody does this is really remarkable. And people forget he's coming off an injury where he can't even throw, and it's pretty. I do think the rules changes have helped him with the stolen bases.
Yeah.
So that's helped, but still, I mean, 50 stolen bases, 50 home runs. Oh, by the way, he may pitch in the postseason. I mean, so
It's insane. Like the way he did it too. Like usually when a guy reaches some sort of milestone, like Acuna getting a 40-40 year, obviously Ohtani getting 50-50. Like usually it's like a guy comes into the game like one home run away, one stolen base away. Dude goes 6 for 6, 3 home runs, 10 RBIs. Like I don't think I've ever.
yeah,
I don't think I've ever done that in a video game.
yeah, throw in two doubles and a single.
Gosh.
Like I got home last night and Ty was like, "Yeah, but his third home run was off a position player." I'm like, "You still got to hit it 400 foot." I mean,
Yeah. What if one of those hits would have been a triple as well? What if he would have added the cycle into that
you
night
know,
as
he
well?
they said he tried to on one of the doubles, but got thrown out at third. So he
He
knew what
was
was going on.
he was going for it all. Man, I had to lead with that because I know you're a Dodgers guy, and
Oh yeah,
that was insane. Like,
it's remarkable what he's not what he's doing now, but what he's done. I mean,
yeah,
to come from a different country. I know baseball's baseball wherever you play it, but like he's got so much stuff going to not against him, but he's got to work through just communication with players. That we
oh
don't
yeah,
even think about when we go on the field, and he's got an interpreter and all the different things that go into his just routine. It's pretty amazing him to have the success he's having at that level.
yeah, yeah. There's no doubt about it. They certainly seem like the force to be reckoned with this October, and that's the only Major League Baseball team we will talk about right now. So,
No, I don't think they have the pitching. I don't think they get it done. I hope they do, but
who do you like then? If your team doesn't get it done, who do you think's going to get it done? You think it's New York or what?
I think the Phillies are going to
Oh,
be a handful.
no, don't do that to me.
I know. But National League, I think it's the Phillies. American League, I think you have to go with the Yankees.
Yeah,
I
that'll
would,
be.
I would love to see the Orioles, just somebody new, but
Yeah,
they're struggling right now.
yeah. I would love to see them too because that I forget his last name. Gunner, is it Henderson?
Yes, mm-hmm.
I mean, he's an Alabama guy.
Right. He was an
Wasn't
Auburn commit out of high school, but obviously
he?
big
Yeah,
time draft pick and
yeah.
went on and played. But
Man, yeah. Well, we'll skip the Braves and we'll jump straight to to.
it's
I
okay, man. You can't win every
I,
year.
I was talking yesterday with Dan Weinreb, Trussville City clerk, and he's a big Reds guy, so he's going through it a lot every year. And we were talking about just I was like, oh, you're only 6 games under 500 for the Reds. That's not like atrocious or anything. And then I was talking about like I don't know how to feel about this Brave season because they're kind of right there in the thick of it, trying to get that third wild card spot. The Mets have kind of pulled away, and they're kind of right behind the Diamondbacks. But I'm like looking at all the injuries, like Acuna, Strider, Albies, Riley, like every All Star has gotten hurt this year, and they're still right in it. So like I've got this weird like I'm okay that they're not there, but I still want them to, be in the playoffs and have a chance. But I think more than anything, I'm just looking forward to a healthy year next year.
That's the key. I mean, I think with all the teams, that's the key. But like, if they get in, you never know. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, they're all still Major League Baseball players. I mean, they're still good.
Yeah.
You know, they're professionals, and you never know. Like, their pitching can win games. So
Yeah.
it's and they have the. I mean, it shows you what kind of job their manager's done. Just kind of losing all those players and still have a chance with nine,
Yeah.
10 games to go.
Yeah. It's weird because in the March, April, and when everything starts, Scott Forster at the next round used to
I
be
know who he
on
is.
used to hold the camera for ABC 3340.
Right.
He
Yeah.
he's a huge White Sox fan, so he's had a
Cool.
summer of depression.
Cool.
But Chris Sale obviously used to be there, then the Red Sox, now he's with the Braves, and he was telling us, he was like, he might make it through April, then he'll get hurt. And so, like, all year we've been waiting on him to be the guy to get hurt. He doesn't. He looks like he might be the Cy Young, maybe in the NL, and then
Should be.
everybody else got hurt. It's
Yeah, he should be the Cy Young. He's top two or three in every pitching category in baseball.
Yeah. So at least we got that going for us. So let's talk about your level. How did so it's the Alabama Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame. That's kind of a mouthful, but
Right.
how'd you find out? I know Lee Gann called you. Was that like because Lee, longtime Mountain Brook coach, because he got elected last year? Was it like, hey, your duty this year is to call Jeff, or are y'all like good buddies, or what?
Yeah, I mean, we're really good friends. We've known each other for over 25 years. He's on the committee that actually votes on the inductees, and he told me that I guess the night before he called, they had a vote on a Zoom, and he knew I was getting in, but two guys wanted to sleep on their votes. So he had to wait till the next morning. And then they got a group text of who was getting in. Barry Dean is over the association, and Barry usually makes the phone calls, but I thought it was pretty cool. Lee, when he got the group text, Lee immediately texted in a group, "Hey, I'm calling Jeff." And just I mean, when I say longtime friends, like I knew him before I knew Jeff Schrupp, who's my assistant coach for all these years.
Yeah.
So Lee was coaching JV baseball at Hoover High School. I was a graduate assistant at UAB, and Lee was coaching a summer collegiate team at St. Joseph, Missouri. Called Coach Case one day. I'm sitting in the office. He was looking for a pitching coach. And Coach Case just hands me the phone across the desk and, hey, you need to go to Missouri to coach. I'm like, what? Of course, I was engaged to my wife, and I called her and said, hey, I'm going to Missouri to coach. She's like, when? I said, in 2 days. so, so that's where me and Lee met, was like 1996, 97. And
Wow.
we lived together for 2 summers. We did that 2 summers in a row in Missouri. We lived together. So for him to call me because of our history and our friendship, it meant a lot. I mean, like, I couldn't think of a better person to call me for that than him. And we talk a lot, and we probably don't go a week without talking. Just catching up. You know, we both coached together in the summer. Both coached our sons together summer ball a few years ago. East Coast Sox. It meant like it literally, like, he called me. I was walking down the hall to the lunchroom, and I just saw Lee Gann on my phone. I just, hello, and what's up, man? And he goes,
Yeah.
hey, I don't know how to tell you this, so I'm just going to tell you. So he told me, and I'm like, holy cow. Like, so
Yeah.
I actually had to like go outside, not to show kids any emotion, what was going on, and talk to them. It was special. I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't think of anybody else would be better to give me that news than Lee Gann. So it was a pretty cool moment for us.
Yeah. Were you like, because they were kind of discussing it on a Zoom like the day before or whatever, like, did you kind of have an idea it was a possibility, or was it shock when he called you? Like, were you surprised?
I was surprised. I had no idea they were even doing it.
Yeah.
I knew that I was nominated. Uh,
Okay.
that's really all I knew. But that happened during the summer.
Yeah.
So I was just kind of going through my normal day, not thinking about anything, heading to the lunchroom and got the phone call. So yeah, I had no idea it was coming.
Wow. What was that like when you took a step outside? What'd you do? Did you just take it all in or what?
It was surreal. Like I was trying to not cry. So, cause it's kind of, it's one of those things where, you kind of live in your world. You're with your coaches, with your players, and you kind of do your daily thing. And I guess the emotion of other people outside of your program, thinking enough, being thoughtful enough to think that this was a thing that, we deserved. And it was pretty humbling to, hear what he was saying on the phone and all that. It was just kind of one of those moments where, somebody was thoughtful enough and thought enough of our program and what we've done through the years to nominate you, and then have a group of, Hall of Famers that vote on it every year to vote you in. It was pretty. It was humbling. I mean, because you really don't know what people think about you outside of your world, and to have that expression, that hey, almost like a tip of the cap to our program or our programs and where we've been, what we've done. It was humbling. I mean, it kind of took me back a little bit, and it started. You really start rush of emotions come through you within like 5 minutes. I mean, you start thinking about Clay Chalkville, you start thinking about Pelham, you start thinking about here at Hewitt. I go all the way back to when I was a player in Virginia, and how the whole thing started was a scout from Alabama came to watch another guy on my team, and he made a phone call to Jim Case, and Jim Case offers me a scholarship to UAB without even seeing me play. So,
Wow.
it's one of those things where you start looking at how God had orchestrated everybody in your life and put everybody on a path to put you where you're at, and it just humbles you. It makes me very grateful for the people in my life. It really made me go all the way back to high school and kind of retrace the steps to get to this point. Is pretty emotional.
Yeah. Did you call Chrissy pretty quick?
Yeah, she was my first call. So
What was her
um,
reaction?
I think she was on the playground with her kids during recess. I think I heard a bunch of
A bunch
elementary
of
kids,
kids, yeah.
Yeah, she was overcome with joy, excitement, proud, proud wife. It was really, I guess, it was really cool for me to hear her excitement, her joy, because she is a part of this as much as I am.
Yeah.
I mean, she's been with me every step of the way. Was willing to move to different communities, you know, I guess in a supportive role to, hey, I'll go where you go. Um, she's my biggest critic. I remember I was at Clay Chalkville and we put on a squeeze play in the seventh inning of a playoff game, and she knew my signs, so she saw me put it on, and I'm looking at the hitter giving the
Yeah.
sign, but she's in the backdrop.
Yeah.
And right when I do it, she does this like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, so it worked. We got to the car, and I said, "Don't you ever get where I can see you ever again." So,
I
but
don't need to be second guessing right now. That's
right in the
awesome.
middle of the decision, yeah. So it was awesome for her, and then I called my girls. Both of my girls are at Auburn right now. They were excited because our family lives it. The ups and the downs, the good and the bad, and the girls were really excited. Ty's home, so Chrissy actually don't call him. Wait to see him, that night. Want to
Yeah.
tell him to his face. His fiance was in town, so got to tell them. And she lives in Florida, and I said, hey, you're gonna have to make a trip back to Birmingham in December for a banquet. And so everybody was excited. It was a good day for sure.
Yeah. So I'm going to run through this. So Alabama Baseball Coaches Association Hall of Fame, class of 2025, also includes Pat Keedy from Gardendale, Brent Patterson at Coleman, Huntingdon College's Steve, is it Schartzer? Am I saying that right?
I
Schartzer?
believe so. Yes.
And yourself. So y'all will be honored at the 30th annual ALBCA Coaches Convention Awards Banquet. Gosh, that's a mouthful. December 12th, Hyatt Regency. You got you gonna work on a speech?
I'm supposed to. So, yeah. I'm good friends with Brent Patterson at Coleman,
Yeah.
and I see him the fall league that I go to over in Hoover. He's there too, watching his kids, and so we saw each other, I guess, the Monday after the announcement, and we said, hey, he goes, hey, Pat Keaty's going to like steal the show because he's everybody loves him. He's got jokes.
Yeah.
He's got a lot of good humor, and he goes, what are me and you going to talk about after he goes? And I'm like, we're probably going to put people to sleep because I don't do public speaking very much, and
Yeah.
we'll see. Though, Gary, it gives. Chrissy said this best. She goes, you thank people via phone call, you thank people via text. She goes, it's going to give you an opportunity to publicly thank people that truly deserve the recognition of helping me. And there's certain people that I want to, thank. I feel like we're going to be in the crowd. And I just want people to know what these men did for me in my life, not just in the baseball, but in life. Jim Case gave me an opportunity to play college baseball on the word of a scout named Joe Mason. Both of those guys are in this Hall of Fame. They'll probably be there. And, there was some stuff at UAB that, maybe I shouldn't even have stayed around on the team because of, I'm a freshman, don't like school, just want to play baseball, and wasn't very good student my freshman year. And they probably had an opportunity to say, hey, you need to go back to Virginia and try over. But he stuck with me, and he taught me a lesson that, hey, school's important. So I got a lot better in school in a hurry. And then I think he talked to our head coach and given me an opportunity to coach at UAB after I got done playing. And I started falling in love with the coaching side of things during my career at UAB, and then him giving me the opportunity to coach kind of set me up. He taught me a lot, as far as just scenarios. We were riding on the bus to Cincinnati, and he just start giving me scenarios of, hey, if you do this, what would you do? And I would give him an answer, and he would question my answer, and then I would change my answer, and he'd get mad at me like, hey, don't make a decision, stick with it, and go with it. Trust yourself. And that taught me a lot. Come up with a plan and follow through. Don't change it midstream. And then you think about, a lot of people probably don't know, Sammy Dunn, who probably the greatest coach of all time in Alabama, took me as a young coach under his wing, kind of privately. Not a lot of. I mean, Coach Schrupp knew I was going to Vestavia here and there and having meetings, but no one else really knew. So thinking about him and his help, when I was a young high school coach, and Dick Steed, he's at Shays Valley for a long time. Him and Sammy were real good friends, and Dick helped me a lot as far as, again, the younger coach. And then you start watching other people, and hey, I like what they do here, I'm going to take it. I didn't like that, I'm not going to use it. You kind of come up with your own deal. But I would say Jim Case and his philosophy and what I learned under him is still today, 25 years later, our base and our foundation and how we run our program. And then you sprinkle in some Sammy Dunn stuff, some Dick Steed stuff, and then stuff we pick up at clinics. Go to conventions, the state convention, this association we go to every year. Go to the national convention if we can swing it, and just you find and learn things. But it's that night is going to give me an opportunity to publicly thank people that truly need to be thanked. And I think people in the audience need to hear what these people did for a kid from Virginia, that didn't know anything. I didn't know what UAB stood for when they called me. And he told me on my visit, hey, you're gonna meet a Southern Belle and never go back to Virginia. And here I am.
Here you
So,
are. Did you like? I mean, I've looked through some of the names, and your record, your success. It speaks for itself. So of course you're nominated. But is there any surprise? Like, is there any surprise at all being nominated, still being an active coach? Like we always think of halls of fame in various sports as people who have retired and that kind of thing. Like, is there any surprise at all that a lot of y'all are still active?
yeah, I think it's weird too because Baseball Hall of Fame, there's rules. Like you
Yeah,
cannot go into the Hall of Fame until you're not a player for X amount of years.
right.
So I still think that honestly, I don't think that I'm deserving because of the traditional Baseball Hall of Fame. But there are people in there that are active. I know Lee Gann at Mountain Brook, AJ Kehoe at Central Phoenix.
Okay.
Now Brent Patterson still coaching at Coleman. So I don't think it's weird because it's been done.
Yeah.
It is kind of weird. I don't know. It's kind of
It's
I'm
just different.
50-50.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
just
it's
kind
kind
of
of
different.
I don't feel like personally I don't feel like I belong in there until I'm done because your career's not over. And but then again, they've done it in the past, so it's yeah, I'm kind of 50-50 with it. I agree with you. Just the traditional Baseball Hall of Fame, they have rules. I mean, of course, our association has rules too, so we didn't break any rules by doing this. But
No, no.
again, it's a humbling recognition and honor, and there's a lot. There's I guess so many great coaches and great men that are a part of it that you're just grateful to kind of be one of them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you just, they put you in December. Obviously, that'll be before this next season starts. I'm looking at career record and such. I mean, 2 state titles, 722 wins. They'll just have to update your numbers when you are done.
Yeah. That's going to be a while, hopefully. So, I don't plan on getting out anytime soon. I still, you get into it because you love baseball.
Yeah.
Then you get into you get into the school side. You want to help kids, young men through the game of baseball in life, and I still enjoy that part. And really, like I said earlier, you're kind of in the middle of things. You don't know how things are going, and then something like this happens, and you have former players reach out to you from Clay, from Pelham, from here. Um, Guys that live in California. I got a text yesterday from one of my former players in Pelham who lives in California, and he heard about it, and a lot of it was not so much baseball. It was, some guys thank me for teaching them the game and all that, but like every one of them was about how we help prepare them for marriage or their job and life. And I mean, I was reading some texts last night crying. I mean, because, guys I haven't heard from for 10, 15 years, that are married and don't even live here and have kids and they have their family. And, one of them talked about how timing is everything. And I got to Pelham and he was a senior. And he said, the timing of that, we were all frustrated and, mad because here we are senior year and getting a new coach. He goes, but then it ended up being the best thing in my life. He goes, you help. What he said, without you and Coach Schrupp, I don't know if I ever would have played college baseball. Without you guys, it wouldn't have. You set me up for the rest of my life. My life would look completely different if that year wouldn't have happened. And you get a text like that, Gary, it rocks you. I mean,
Yeah.
it really shows you how God places you in people's lives to make an impact. And likewise, they make an impact on me. And and it's a reminder. And sometimes you have a bad day and things aren't going your way, and you get a random text like that, like, okay, we're doing it the right way. We're doing it the best we can, and we are helping people in life because baseball is going to end for these guys, whether it's in high school or if they're fortunate enough to go to college, it's going to probably end there. And we got some guys in the minors right now, but like you're not guaranteed tomorrow in this game. So we try to use the game to we want them to be unbelievable husbands and unbelievable dads and have great jobs and be people in their community that make an impact on others. So I feel like if we can make an impact on our players, at some point they realize that, and then in turn they make an impact on others, and just help society in general, because definitely know we need help in the society part.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. Need it. We need a lot of it.
Yes.
How much like you told me back in what was that February when you hit 700? I know I showed up to a game and jinxed it. Chrissy will probably still say that. She was like, "Why are you here?"
At
That was
Briarwood, yeah.
yeah, a little bit. But anyway, it still happened. And you had told me after that, how it kind of, stopped you in your tracks a little bit. And obviously, I'm sure this did too. I guess I'm wondering, like, how many times over just 2024 now have you been kind of stopped in your tracks and just like really reflected on things? It seems like it's been a decent bit.
Yeah. The 700, people reached out. More people have reached out for this one.
Yeah.
The our AD Lance Walker and my wife Chrissy, they got like at the 700, they try to get like 700 letters.
Yeah.
I still haven't finished them. So I periodically will walk by the box when I'm home and pick up one. And so stop in your tracks, like almost every time I read one of those letters. That's probably why I haven't read them all, is because it's emotional. Former players, colleagues, mentors. I read one and I can't read another one. Like I can't handle it. It's like, I don't know if it's become older and more emotional or what, but it's tough. It's a tough read. It's not like, hey coach, thanks. It's like a page and a half, 2 pages of, and it almost go back in time, and because they tell stories about Clay Chalkville, this happened, and don't know if you remember this, but you start seeing it in your head and you relive it. And so it's, to answer your question, a lot right now.
Yeah.
I try to stay doing what I'm doing, but it's good too, because it's just reminders of your responsibility that you have. I had a pastor. He's a longtime friend of mine, but he was a pastor at the church we used to go to, and he always would tell me to understand. You need to understand the responsibility you have as a coach. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And I mean, I'm coaching a game, trying to win games. And this was, again, when I was at Clay early in my career. He said, you are going to see and spend more time with your players than their own parents during baseball season. You start counting the hours that they're at school, they're at practice, games versus the hours they're home. You have a greater impact in their lives, not more than their parents, but your time with them during their time with you is greater. He goes, you have an unbelievable responsibility. Never forget that. And, sometimes it's hard to remember that. But times like this, when you get a letter or a text, it's a reminder of the responsibility that we have as coaches with our players.
Yeah. Do things like this, these different, 700 wins, a Hall of Fame induction, getting these letters, the emotion of it, does it take away your edge at all, or is that fire still burning just as much as it was? It's just burning a little differently.
I would say it's different. Definitely doesn't take away the edge of trying to win, trying to make people better and get to where you need to get. It's different. I probably coach a lot. The kids at Clay would definitely tell you, if they saw me today, that we coach a lot different than we did back then. I say all the time, we were young and dumb back then, but now I think we're older and smarter. Maybe some people don't think we're smarter, but you always have your people who know more than you, so that's all good.
Always. Yep. What would you say is the top reason or top reasons, being at, you hear a lot of coaches, like just look no further than Hewitt-Trussville, Jack Wood. His only head coaching job was at Hewitt-Trussville. He's in a Hall of Fame. How have you been able to breed that success at Clay Chalkville, at Pelham, at Hewitt-Trussville, just three different places, and every place it's been like this? There's never really been a huge struggle or seasons of letdown or whatever. How have you been able to do that at all three places?
Not easy. Um, I would say, man, there's several things. The first thing that pops in my mind is stability. Jeff Schrupp has been my assistant coach every stop of the way. Ever since day one at Clay Chalkville, he was in our program. My first 2 years as the varsity coach, he was our head middle school coach. So we were still together. And then my third year as head coach, he became my assistant, and he's been with me every year. Went with me to Pelham, then here at Hewitt. So I think, and I try to tell young coaches this to get head jobs is, stability is massive, and having someone you can trust, like he can finish my sentences, I can finish his. We think the same. He starts telling me about a player. I'm like, yeah, I know. I start telling him, yeah, I know. I mean, so I think the comfort of having him with me every day, and again, it's stability with the same message is being delivered all the time. Some other things I think we've done is now at Clay, we were just flying by the seat of our pants. It was, you know, we were fortunate to have great players, great parents. I truly think 99% of the parents there trusted everything we did. And I think that went with the kids, and they trusted us and believed in everything we talked about, whether it was hitting, fielding, pitching. They probably didn't like all the conditioning and all the work, but we won. So they're like, okay, that was worth it. I think, going to Pelham and really when we went to Pelham and then we followed it at Hewitt was we researched people who had done what we were trying to do, go to a different place and have the similar success. And funny thing is, we didn't even look at a baseball coach. We looked at, some football coaches. Lou Holtz had done it. He bounced around a little bit, and we read some things about him. Honestly, one of the guys we looked at was Rush Pros. He's whatever you want to say, but like the guy wins wherever he goes. So we really looked at, things he had done. Urban Meyer was one, so we looked at football coaches that had gone from, one high school to another or one college to another, and what did they do? And, one of the things that all of them talked about was radical change. And when you go in somewhere, change everything. So when we went to Pelham, we changed everything, like from uniforms to the logo. I mean, anything that had been done there the year before was gone. And we did the same thing here. The only thing we didn't change here was the logo, my first year, but we changed out all the uniforms. We just got rid of it. Just everything was changed except the HT on the hat. The second thing was you got to have immediate success. If you're going to make all these changes and change the weight room, change conditioning, change how you go the day-to-day operations, you have to have immediate success to get the buy-in. And, we were able to do that, I think that, but I think just what we do on a day-to-day basis, the kids feel confident because they feel better about themselves, whether it's conditioning, they don't like it, but they notice I'm in better shape. They may not like going to the weight room 3-4 days a week, but they take their shirts off, they look better, they feel better, they're going to play better, they're more confident. And I think they see how hard we work, as far as coaches, things we do on the field, the scouting aspect that we do, we try to, be as prepared as possible for them to have the confidence to go take on a game and like, okay, we know more about them than they know about us. We've worked harder than they have in the off season, weight room conditioning, whatever, we're more prepared. And if they believe that, then they're going to have success. And I remember at Pelham, the schedule early wasn't, was average at best. The schedule was done before we got there. We got here, and the very first game was Vestavia, and so we're sitting there thinking like, I don't know how many times Hewitt-Trussville's beat Vestavia, before we got here, and so we went into the game. It was at Briarwood, actually. Funny that Briarwood came up earlier. So we go over there, and one of my things is early in the year, your pitchers aren't really ready to go full games. So there's a certain pitch count. We want to get the pitcher too early. We had like a good lead on Vestavia, like maybe 5 runs, maybe kind of 5th, 6th inning, and my pitcher hadn't got to the pitch count. And he goes out maybe for the 5th or 6th, and he walked the first couple of guys. And I keep looking at my book like, man, he's got like 15 more pitches. Well, gets up a hit, walks another hit. I'm like,
Oh no.
we're about to lose because I'm sticking to my plan. And so I get him to his pitch count. Now we're up 2, and we make a change. We end up winning by 2 runs, and it was funny. Like the people in Trussville are so excited. Like parents are coming into the dugout, hugging their kids. Karen Johns is on the field. Bill Roberts, who is the board president, comes on the field, and I'm looking around like, what the heck is going on? And they just had never done that, and like, hey, we got another game like in 30 minutes. We got to play Briarwood. Like, y'all got to leave the field, So it's to see the excitement, but like we followed a plan, almost didn't work, and then the next day, Karen calls me and says, I'm not a baseball person, but like, why did you leave him in the game so long? Like, we thought you were trying to lose the game on purpose or something. And I was like, no, we had a plan. We're going to stick with it. And I think that's something else too, Gary, is like we come up with a plan, a roadmap, if you will, and we follow it. And, Coach Case taught me a long time ago, when you go into a 3-game series or a tournament or whatever, come up with a plan before it starts and follow through with the plan. Sometimes things happen and you may have to veto something, but like, most of the time we go into something, we have a plan set in place. And man, if it gets out of the road a little bit, we try to keep it in the road and have that plan. And, most of the time for us, it's worked. Every now and then it blows up in our face. So,
well, but not much. It hasn't happened much.
We've been fortunate. We've been, like I said, I told someone earlier, I've had the privilege of having unbelievable assistant coaches, and you're only as good as the people that you surround yourself with. And when I was a first-year coach, I tried to do everything: the pitching, the hitting, the defense. I just micromanage everything. And it took one of our parents, to say, hey, let someone else do something. You're going to kill yourself before you're 30. And so that's, I did that for 2 years, and we won, but not big, and I was struggling, like, sleeping at night. And cause my mind was always going. And then we brought Schrupp from the middle school and like, hey, you've got the hitters and you've got the infielders. And from that moment, it just took off. I think that first year we got beat in the semifinals. The second year we won the state championship, and we've been kind of doing the same thing for the last 20 some years.
My gosh, the longevity of it is crazy. It's also crazy that like you said, Schrupp, like you just don't see that these days, guys. Because I'm sure he probably has had other opportunities along the way that, decisions he could have made and stuff like that. And to stick with it, to, continue having that success. And like you said, providing that stability wherever y'all have been, that's immeasurable, that kind of impact.
He, early on, he got several opportunities to be head coach, and our success, people wanted to hire him. And I think early on, he saw what I had to go through as a head coach or what head coaches have to do. And he said, you let me do what I do. Like I got full control of the hitters. I got full control of the infielders. You never get involved unless I ask you to. He goes, I love the hitting. I love infield play. Like, why would I want to tackle what you tackle with, whether it's fundraising or parent meetings or whatever? Like, you deal with all the headaches. I'm gonna go over here and have fun with the hitters and infielders, and you know, and that's what he's chose to do, and he's had an unbelievable career doing it. I joke all the time, like he could coach third and I could coach first, and nothing would change. It's I mean, we use the same sign system, and we have a little bit different philosophy as far as the bunting. Like I love the small ball game, and he loves doubles and home runs. So he probably wouldn't bunt as much as me, but I mean, it's like he could do third and I do first, and I don't think you'll see any difference in what was going on here.
I think Jeff Schrupp might have the best job in all of Trussville, it sounds like.
I tell you, not that, but like you want to bring somebody on, AP teacher. I think this past year he set a entire Alabama state record for AP scores for his students, and like
Jeez.
I'll just he's the best teacher in the state of Alabama, and
Wow.
AP scores can back that up. And I think he's been teacher of the year in 3 different school systems.
Gosh.
He was actually up for state teacher of the year a couple of years ago. He made it to the final 3, and then he found out that he's going if he won it, he's going to take a year off of teaching and kind of go around the state touring and lecturing and all that. And he pulled his name out of the hat before it got named, because I think he told the state superintendent, like, look, I teach. I love teaching. I love coaching. I don't want to take a year off. And so he actually pulled his name out, and some people were not happy about that, but he did it.
So. Wow. That's an incredible story. So do you we'll get you out of here on this. Do you like all this attention, don't you?
Yeah, I'd rather just call pitches and coach third.
Well, go ahead.
I don't know. You know me really good. Not really. But you know what? Like Chrissy said, if it gives me an opportunity to thank the people that need to be thanked, it's worth it. And I can't even tell you how much some of the messages I've got have meant to me. Like I said, it's been very humbling to hear from people, and some people you talk to on a regular basis, but some people you just don't know. And you get a text from a guy that you coached in 2007, and the impact that you or your program made on him in just 1 year. I don't really like the attention. I don't like talking. I'm probably not going to like talking in front of all those people, but I know it's something that it's going to mean a lot to me to be able to thank people. And because without certain people, not just the Hall of Fame thing is possible. Like I owe my marriage to Jim Case. Like I owe my career to different people, and there's a handful of people that have changed my life, and I'm gonna have an opportunity to thank them, publicly, and let people know what kind of people they are and what kind of impact they made, not just baseball, but like my life, being in Alabama, coaching, meeting my wife, having 3 kids. I mean, it's not, the impact I want to make on my players. Those people made that kind of impact on me. And so again, I'm trying to pass it forward from them. They pass it to me, and we try to pass it to our people now. So
yeah, well, that's awesome. So you'll get that opportunity. Let me look back. December 12th, Hyatt Regency at the 30th Annual Alabama Baseball Coaches Association Coaches Convention Awards Banquet. So
There you go.
there you go. That's a mouthful. But yeah, I appreciate you, Coach. Congratulations. And
Thank you.
tell you what, we'll do another one of these come after the calendar flips, and we can just talk about just your players. How's that sound?
That would be awesome. That's who needs to be talked about.
That's it. Well, this one was for this, and we'll do another one to talk about 2025 and what's to come on the field. We'll talk about bunts versus the doubles and the home runs.
I got a question for you.
Okay, put me on the
Where
spot.
where are you going to be tonight?
Tonight, I am going to be at the Met, so I'll be
Hoover?
Hoover versus Prattville is my game tonight.
That should be a good game.
Yeah, and I wish I know that's a little football, and we were talking baseball, but man, I wish they still played Barons games at that place. I miss a big old parking lot and
Yep.
not having to deal with downtown. Just
Oh,
personal
yeah.
opinion.
I don't go to Barons games now because of that.
And I love,
So,
and like every time, okay, so I've gone and I've been able to, with Starnes Media, have some pretty good parking and some pretty good seats. Incredibly appreciative. But on those games where I'm just, general admission looking for a spot, I'm like, man, where am I going to go? And I mean, the first time I took Jessica to a Barons game, this is funny. I'm going to tell on myself here. When we left, I couldn't find the truck in the parking lot because I couldn't remember where I parked, and it was just you know that lot. It's so vast,
yeah.
and this was a decade ago, and I was out there clicking my like horn button, just trying to find it, and I kind of miss a huge lot like that, and just the ease of getting in and out, and
Yes.
yeah. So yeah,
That's why
that's where I'll.
that's why the SEC tournament's so good.
It's so good there.
Yep.
So
It's
good there.
awesome.
I hope it.
Thankfully, Hoover got it longer. So,
How long did they get it for? I don't remember when they got
I'm,
it through.
I'm guessing 2030 maybe or 2028.
Okay, that's a good stretch.
I was talking to Adam Mosley, I guess the
Yeah,
day it happened. I know it's for at least 2 or 3 more years, if not 5.
good, good. You keep worrying about. I mean, us here keep worrying about things happening like with Nashville, and now
Yep.
that Texas and Oklahoma are in, you start to think about Dallas or something like that. So it needs to stay in Hoover, and I hope it does forever because
Yes.
it's so much fun.
It's great for Birmingham. It's great for our players to get to go out there and
Oh
watch it.
yeah,
And I
oh
mean,
yeah,
not saying it wouldn't be great for the kids somewhere else, but
yeah,
it's kind of a Hoover thing. It's an Alabama thing. We should keep it.
yeah, yeah. I mean, the SEC office is right downtown. We got to have the tournament here.
Right.
It's
Right.
like, hey, I mean, just got to keep it here. But yeah, that's where I'll be. I think y'all will. Not that you're a football coach, but I think y'all will have some success bouncing back tonight. I was at that Hoover Hewitt-Trussville game in the pouring rain last week, and that was just
Yeah.
that was a slog of a night. It was horrible. So I'm looking forward to sunshine and the first game in September where I'm not soaking wet. That's what I'm looking forward to.
It's going to be hot, though.
Yeah, yeah. I think we got a bit of that false fall, but I will take a game in the heat over a game in the rain any day. Trying to keep stats and
Oh,
trying to tweet stuff. I mean, it's like literally everything that we do on a sideline. You don't need rain for. Like rain ruins everything we try to do. Like phone will get zapped. All my stats are just mush. Like so excited to just have some good weather.
you should have the high school football teams build you like a dugout on the sidelines where you
I
can stand.
mean, yeah.
Come
I
on.
mean, I've been saying this forever. This is no shot at Hewitt-Trussville. This is a shot at everybody. But okay, can we have when we say press box? Okay, I'm press. We, I'm not saying give us a huge room with naming rights and Wi-Fi all over and 80 plugins and all of that. I'm just saying, let's reserve 3 seats at least Class 6A and Class 7A schools that are our bigger, more able to pay for it type of schools, in the event that they need to cover up there, because I am not a press box guy. I like to be down in it. Most of what I end up writing, I try to pick out a scene or something like that I saw, just an observation that maybe you can't see from the stands or you can't see on NFHS or something, to give you something extra, right?
Right.
And I can't get that from a press box. Now, if it's pouring down rain like it was last week, all bets are off. And if there's a spot for me, I'm gonna go sit in it. But I wish we had more press box room, like at least at football. Baseball's pretty easy. Like I don't know, but baseball's to me it's a much like, how do I want to word this? It's a grittier thing to cover for me. I grew up a baseball guy, not a football guy, so like I don't mind the flipped over Home Depot bucket in a duck blind sitting behind home plate, because I've done it. I did it at Pinson Valley years ago. I mean, that thing was a glorified duck blind, and it might have been a makeshift sauna because it was 150 degrees in it. But let's get some actual seats for the press, and
Well,
the out.
anytime you come to baseball here, you got a spot in our press box.
I know I do. I know I do.
Anytime.
I've been up in there.
I'll work on the football side.
Help me out. Help me out. Make it happen.
I'll work on it starting today.
Sorry, Lance.
All right. I see him every day, so it's all good.
Yeah, yeah. Well, all kidding aside, I appreciate it, Coach, and
Yep.
congratulations. That's
I really
awesome.
appreciate it.
Well deserved.
Yep. Thank you for having me. I appreciate it. Have a good
Yeah.
day.
You too.